Hey there, everyone. It is Andrew with another cheap RC review. And this time, where I'm going to talk about the HongWang Gallop. So, this little beast cost me $26 on Amazon. Normally $30. It's on sale, or I had a coupon, excuse me. And so, at that price point, I figured, hey, let's go ahead and get it picked up. Now, this isn't a true unboxing video because I was a little excited, so I went ahead and opened it beforehand. But what was pretty nice is that allowed me to get some other people with some hands on the car, and I can share what they thought. So let's go ahead and take a further look. Have a little bit different angle, but let's try this out. So this is what you get inside of the box, and it's pretty standard. What I would think is pretty standard for the sub $50 mark. It's a 1/16 car. We've got the ubiquitous USB charger. This thing is definitely a slow charger, as they all are, but something to keep in mind. We've got two 7.4 2000 mAh LiPo batteries, the 2.4 gigahertz, I like I said 2.0 a lot, 2.0 gigahertz controller. Got your body, you got a screwdriver. These clips are great for people with a little bit larger finger. I actually bought a whole baggie full of these the other day to use on my other RC cars. So I was really excited to see those. One thing extra is actually the bumper. Actually, this is the stock bumper. The extra piece is the wheelie bar bumper. So that was pretty exciting to see that. And of course the screwdriver, because there's a tiny little screw and you're gonna have to undo it. So let's take a little bit more depth look at this car. All right, so first off, before I get into the nuts and bolts of this thing, I want to talk about the body. The body of this car is fantastic looking. It does come in 3 different colors, and I love that whole buggy style look. It's got the little spare tire, though obviously it won't fit. Tires are nice and squishy. You can actually see little details. These body panels are screwed in, which is actually pretty cool. And we actually had a few people, when I was testing it out with some friends, they commented on how heavy duty the body felt and how nice of the quality implied, essentially, by having that nice quality body. This is another thing when I was just talking about with these body clips. Now, you can see from my finger here, that would be real hard to get under there, and trying to get a hold of something metal like this is not an easy experience. However, with these little tabs, boink. Real quick, I wanted to show the interior of this. The reviews thus far, there's always some good details, I feel, with these cars, but this one really went above and beyond. Yes, that is a fire extinguisher. There's this steering wheel, and there's even a little gear shifter in there. This is all detail that I think looks great. I don't have any 1/16 action figures. I tried a Lego figure. It was a little too small. G.I. Joe's a little bit too big. You can probably find one to, if you wanted to add a little something in there. Okay, taking a look from this side, I got the battery out right now. One thing I want to draw your attention to is right there, right in the middle, right there. It has a steel drive shaft. This is pretty standard with these cars, but it is something to call out, especially being in that sub $25 or sub $50 range. I also want to call out these little details. You can actually lower and raise the body posts. So I'm not actually sure why you do that, because this thing is pretty specific to its own body. But for example, let's say you have a 3D printer and you want to print off a new body, you could definitely raise and lower that. And that's on front and rear, which is pretty dang sweet. Now let's talk about the wheelie bar. So out of the box, the bumper it comes with doesn't have a wheelie bar. It's just your standard, it looks like a bumper. The wheelie bar is great. It definitely has enough torque to throw itself around when you do kind of a reverse to full blast forward. It doesn't do a lot. It won't really ride on the wheelie bar like you might think of. And right over here, there's something special I did want to call out. If you notice, there's that little green wire right there. Yeah, that one. That little green wire is actually used for the LED lights. It has LEDs in the front. You can see the wiring connecting up here. I actually do like this. I have not seen this before, where the LEDs have had its own plug. I don't know exactly, I don't see the wiring, but I'd imagine it's a straightforward, power connection. So you could probably even upgrade that, though I'm not suggesting you do that, or try it, whatever legal things. Last thing to call out is the Deans/T plug. In my opinion, this does indicate that there's a little bit higher quality and a little bit more thought out into a model. Doesn't necessarily, equate to that. I don't know, maybe not. The motor itself actually seems kind of large. I don't know if that's a 280 or the next size up. Either way, it has a ton of torque. The only thing I don't like, and this is a complaint I've had with a few of these cars so far, here's the power button. Number one, the power button is not a different color. It's not easy to see. Number two, if we put the body on here real quick, or maybe not real quick as I'm trying to do this one. There we go. It becomes very hard to get to, and unfortunately this body is very rigid, so it does make it a bit of a challenge. But otherwise, it's the standard layout that you would expect, four-wheel drive. It's got the big, thick, knobby tires on it. So let's go ahead and take it for a drive. All right, so I got the battery plugged in, the body on, and I am ready to start this up. And as I mentioned before, this is where it gets a little tricky to get your finger in there, turn that on. However, the lights are blinking, and I broke my first rule of not having the controller on first. So as you can tell, the controller has the steering trim right there and the throttle trim. They call it speed. It also has a servo reversing. Not quite sure why I'd use this, but hey, roll with it. And I'd like to point this out right here. It's got this little thumb switch. I've seen this is twice now I've seen this, but you can adjust the LEDs from the controller. Now, does it serve an actual purpose? No. Does it look cool? Yes. Does it show a little bit of attention? Absolutely. So that's pretty neat to see in something that is this inexpensive. All right, so I'm still getting used to this whole thing of, you know, let's play with the cars and take a video at the same time. But I think I'm getting better at it. So I'm just kind of warming up right now. It does have quite a bit of pep. One thing I did end up doing with these is I ended up charging the batteries on one of my actual hobby grade chargers. There you go, a little wheelie pop. And that's because the batteries are pretty large, being at 2000 mAh, and they were taking a long time to load. They were taking a long time to charge. So I decided to pop them onto my big charger and see how that would, if that would impact things. I actually think I got more of a charge out of them. As you can see, this thing's an absolute blast on the pavement. It is a lot of fun, and that was the general reaction. I gave it to quite a few people to play with, and they really tore around with this thing. They enjoyed doing the flips, trying to get the whole driving in a wheelie position, but no one was able to do it. But this thing rips pretty dang good. As much as this thing rips on the pavement, this is where you have to really remind yourself this is a $25 rated car. This is not, a Traxxas Slash. This is something that is definitely going to struggle with the deeper class. It just does not have enough oomph to get onto it. So you can see the speed's significantly lower. I have a little bit shorter grass in the front because I rode it wrong. It does pretty good in that, but anything up above his hubs, it's going to struggle with. And you might have to go fetch it, or but it still rips. It's still fun. It's just not as fast as I would have hoped, but at the same time, it's like this little floating voice saying, it was only $25. And then I say, oh yeah, that's pretty sweet. Definitely handled that, no problem. And I've been banging it around. I don't want to flat on things, except my phone up here. So this is about as very good a thing as I get. It's just sort of gravel. Now, it's definitely starting to feel like it's slowing down a little bit. I have my doubts that these are actually 2000 mAh batteries. I don't really have the equipment to test them. When I charged, it was going between 900 to 1,000 milliamps pushed into the battery. I don't know, but it's still ripping pretty good. It's still a lot of fun. Honestly, you got a kid. This is a great car for a kid to learn on. It's small enough, it's fast enough, it's gonna look awesome, it's gonna be fun to fly around with. But it's not gonna be so big that, it hits somebody, which very happens. It hits a building or someone's car or something. It's not gonna damage it, but it's still a lot of fun. You can get multiple of these because of the magic of 2.4 gigahertz technology. You get a couple of them around, it'll be a lot of fun. And You can just see it's, it's starting to slow down a little bit, but I'm really impressed with this car. Is this worth it? Absolutely. I think if you can take this in for under 40 bucks, it's an absolute winner. You've got 2 batteries, which is a nice long run time. You've got 2.4 gigahertz. You can do some fun, like, control the lights or whatever worth you're going to get out of that. It seems to be pretty dang durable, not taking a hammer to it. But I've hit a few things. I'm looking at the test drive. Jumped off a couple stairs. And everything seems to have survived. So, this is the Gallop RC car. It's definitely under 40 bucks. Give it a shot.
Ooh, maybe I can do a cool closing shot.